Hello and welcome to Wallybois. And I thought I'd just do a quick stream because what I need to do is I need to do some planing. Yes, some planing to true up the edge of a piece of wood. In this case, it's going to be this door that we'll be making. But also, oh, I've done it again. And I thought I'd just do a quick stream because what I need to do is I need to every time. It catches me every flipping time. Anyway, so I got this is my Stanley Bailey number 7, which is kind of my trusty steed. And down here we have our little door that we need to true up on this edge. Now, the problem is, because it's an old niche, the top of the niche is slightly narrower than the bottom of the niche, so we've got to put tape on it. So I'll show you how we do that, basically. And I'll bring the camera in as close as we can, just so you can see. The actual door itself, the actual niche, is about 1 centimetre, so about about 1 centimetre, about 3/8 of an inch difference from top to bottom, and it's narrower at the top than it is at the bottom. I hope the audio is okay because I was struggling with the audio last time. So I heard I had to listen. It was that was popping, a bit odd. And I've turned the filters off, so hopefully the noise gate and stuff like that has been turned off now. So hopefully that'll solve the problem. So what we've got our door that we've made up. This is the one we made up. It's got the 2 mortise and tenon joints on the hung side, which is actually this side, this edge. This is where it's going to be hung. And then we've got on the opposite face, we've got the side that's basically at the bottom of the door, is where we put the domino dowels in, and that is that's a loose joint, so I should be able to remove that and take that apart with a bit of luck. So we can slide the actual dry whiteboard. It's going to go into this frame. That is the plan. That is. So I've put some marks on here as well, which are for the hinge position. So we might get to put the actual hinges in as well. But what I better do is just extend them, because otherwise I might plane them out of the way. Well, I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to extend that mark down, and that basically is the position of the top of the hinge on both hinges. So I've got one there and one there. So it's 2 marks, and that way I can put my hinges in with my jig, which we'll probably do today as well. So it won't take long. So we can then put our hinges into place. Basically what I do is I want to be able to hang this door into place. I can't take you there because obviously I'm streaming in the workshop and this is in the house. So we'll basically hang this first, make sure it all fits before I put the panel in, and then even before the panel goes in, I want to get this all painted up. So I want this to be black because, because it's going to have drywall board and the ink is going to be black in a lot of cases. And if it's white, it's going to look a right old mess in no time because of the dust from the actual dry whiteboard pens. But I want to show you how we actually do a tapered plane. So we've got to true this up. So I'm going to bring the camera down a bit lower. Let's move that down over there so we can see what's going on. Oh, that's it. Doubled up the screens now so I can see now if I'm in frame. So if I bring you down a bit lower, down here, that is my mark here. That lower mark is that mark there's what I'll go to. But I've also got to do the same on the opposite face as well. So the problem is, because it's a taper, I want to plane that from here to the end, but truing it up at the same time. The problem is I need to take more material off this end of the door than I do off that end of the door. I suppose it's logical, really. But how do we do this? Because if I just plane a bit of wood, I'd be doing a parallel. They'll become narrower, narrower, narrower. But I don't want to do that. I want to take more off this end than that end, but taping it gradually. There's a technique on how to do that. I'm just going to move this mouse over here. Oh, it's a bit awkward though, because I'm over here and the screen's all the way up there. Up there it is. And I have to be really ginger on how to, not ginger giraffes, no, just ginger, and how I'm going about it. Okay, so we can see what's going on, you see. Anything, I can't really see my settings. So, right, okay. We should be streaming. Alright, called that we're streaming. That's a good sign. Yep, we're live. Put this and live stream there. Bear with me just a second. It's very cold, I have to admit, today. Very cold indeed. So to get onto the I need to go into that. I hope everybody's keeping warm. It's extremely cold. My fingers are freezing. I haven't got no heating on in the workshop yet either. So that's a bit of a bummer. So okay, we have got people here. I couldn't see anybody here. I hope the audio is okay. So if you can hear me okay, let me know. Let me know. It's a silly question because obviously, if it's if you can't hear me, well then obviously you can't respond because you can't hear me. But sometimes people tell me what's going on. So what we've got to do is we've got to start at one end and we work our way back in stages. So we do our first stroke, say for instance about there, 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 and there, and there, and then finally we do the whole door. A door will take hardly. This bottom here, the bottom of the door, actually almost fits. So be very careful not to take too much off at this point, which obviously is be a good idea not to, because it'll be a bit silly because it'll be too narrow and we don't want that. So we're going to be starting at this end and working our way along. Longer the plane, the better. This is, you might think, oh, that's a whopping great plane. Well, why don't you just use a number 4, such as a Stanley Smoother, such as little number 4 over here. That's little number 4. And that's all very well. But the longer the plane is, especially the space in front of the actual blade itself, or the plane iron, that needs to be as long as possible. Because that is really what dictates how true this is. You see, that is much longer. Yeah, that allows me to keep everything, well, true. It'll just follow the line of the plane. That is the idea. Obviously, you have to use it correctly. So you set your depth of cut on the plane iron here, and just run fingers crossed because I can feel it. Don't worry, I'm not going to cut myself. I hope not, anyway. Right, there's another thing we think about. Once we're finished, I'll explain it near the end. All right, we'll get this bit done first. It makes more sense. Well, I've got a straight edge over here as well. So I'll use that as a plaster straight edge, which is fine for this job. So I'm going to start at this end. First, got to make sure, hopefully, it's playing fairly even. So I'm getting an even shaving like that. Yeah. So it's the same, almost the same. Well, it is pretty much the same thickness across the whole width of that shaving. Pretty much, yeah. It's a little bit thinner on that side, so I need to increase the depth cut on that side just a fraction. Otherwise, what you do is you'll start going over and over and over, and you'll introduce a leading edge to the door. We don't want to do that yet. We'll do that later. So let's try it again. That's it. I think that's about right. Okay, so first couple of strokes. So I go once. So that's the first stroke, for instance. I'll then bring it back to about where, halfway across that next mark. Do the same again. Back a bit further, and 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 again. Obviously, your plane's got to be sharp. Ooh, got stuck on a knot. Ooh. Now, this is what can happen. Because I jumped to here, because the grain goes in 2 directions on the end here. I don't know if you can see that, but it goes in and out. I got caught in the grain. And then it created a little shave like that, and it stopped me, it basically stopped me making the cut. So I'll come back to where I was before. I'll start there. Now every shaving should be longer each time. It's doing that again, just there. It's like there's a void there, basically, where the grain does this. Move that away. At least you've got plenty of room. Alright. And bit by bit, we come down to that line here. I don't really want to take too much of this end yet, so I'm doing the whole width at the moment, whole length, at the moment. But there's 2 places here that cause a bit of a problem. You have to bear in mind. If I can show you, I'll bring it closer so you can see what I'm talking about. Wood being wood, it could be, you know, a little bit fickle. In this case, you can see here, there's, I don't know if you can see that there, the grain is going up, down. So effectively, on this edge, we've got the grain going upwards in one direction, then upwards in the opposite direction. And what's happened is, as the plane is going that way, this area here is absolutely fine, but this side, the end of the grain's coming up, and I'm catching it each time. And the same thing has happened here. There's sort of lump out there. That stopped me the first time. So there's not much I can do about that. I'll just keep going, really. You can't just go like that and like that. We try. It's not ideal, but there you go. Say to be. These things happen. So I'm going right across now. Bailey cam. Because it's Stanley Bailey. Now what I don't want to do is keep coming all the way back here at this stage, because what I'll do is I'll be making this narrower at that end as well as at that end. I'm going to try and put a tapered cut on there. So I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to be a bit ginger how I lay the plane down at this point. I'm also going to just check my mark over there. Now if I look over that side, see, I'm on this end, I've took enough off. That end I haven't. So basically what I'm going to do is now I'm going to start the whole process again. So I'm going to start over this end, short, slightly longer, slightly longer, slightly longer, slightly longer, and then check my mark, see whether I'm down to the mark yet. I'm virtually there. And now I think to myself, okay, that I can do a full stroke. Before I do that though, I'll have a look at the straight edge and see if it's anywhere near flat. Got a bit of a rock in it at this point here. So I've been taking more off that end, so I need to get rid of this hump now. So I've got to remember that that is my high point here. And I'm going to, I don't want to take anything off here. So I'm doing like a scoop. And I get longer and longer and longer to that end. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I'll do one stroke across the whole thing, just to make sure it's flat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what you call a leading edge. Now, when you do a leading edge, we're playing like this. You use your skew. Now, what I mean by leading edges, how do I explain this? For argument's sake, so let's get you on the other camera. Argument's sake, think of this being the top edge of the door, right? This piece, this straight edge, all right? The distance from end to end, in this case, is 998 millimeters. But if I go from corner to corner, obviously it's going to be longer. In this case, it's 103 millimeters. That'll be the same that way. So it's 103 millimeters. But if you make a fairly tight fit, what happens is as the door opens and closes, the point from corner to corner is going to be longer than the width for your opening. Now, if you want a nice fit of the door, so it's snug in the hole, what you do is you do a thing, put a leading edge on. And the idea is, as it fits in the hole, the leading edge is quite close to the jambs of the actual door itself. But the sort of cameras over again. But the actual so this edge will be close to the frame. If this is the frame, they'll be fairly close. But there'll be some relief at the back edge, on the back edge of the door. And that way it makes a bit of clearance, so it prevents it from binding. But also catching on the frame as it opens and closes. You do that on both faces. So you do it on this part, on the hung side, but also on the closing side, where you put your lock or your bolt or whatever you can put there. And that's what you do with that. So what we're going to do to create that leading edge, what's happened there? Hello Gingers, hello Jeff, hello Jasper. Oh, crikey. Don't have prostate problems, no, crikey. Don't do that. Audio's fine. Oh, that's good. I've turned off the filters, the noise gate. So I was wondering if it's something to do with that. It might be because my computer's struggling. I've ordered a new, it should be in my post box now actually, I've ordered a new power supply, so I'm hoping that will solve the issue of the cameras. If it doesn't, I've got to think of something else. I've only got 2 cameras running at the moment. Now, if we look at this plane here, we have this thing here called a skew. And now what I want to do is I want this side of the plane iron poking down further than that side. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to move that way like so. As you can see, it moves the plane iron across a skew. Now if we look at the plane iron on the other face here, it's sticking out further here than it is over here. And we can use that to our benefit. I want to create a leading edge on this door. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this, move this over a little bit so it's a bit better angle. So you can see a bit better instead of tin of paint. So we're going to bring the plane back all the way to the end this time. I'm not going to try and tip the plane to create my angle. I'll just keep it flat because the plane iron's at an angle, so I don't need to. And it's sticking out more that face than that side of the plane iron than that side. So the good idea to start on this side because it's going to be a shallower cut. You increase that later if you need to. You can bring the plane out, and use your finger as a guide underneath the plane, like so. Depending how far your finger's under as a guide, as long as you've got those splinters everywhere, it will depend on where you cut on the plane iron. So this time it won't be on this side. So we're going to do that. Use my finger as that guide. You see it's cutting on the right hand side of the plane iron. I bring it right across like so. So what I'm doing is I'm creating an angle. I'm angling the edge of the door. I'll do that a few times. And when I'm happy that I've got enough back there, that's quite nice amount of cut. It's not too much. Ugh. And once I've gone about just past halfway, I will then say, okay then, I think we've got enough lead on there, right? But I'm not across its full width. If I'm feeding it now, you obviously can't see that, but the angle is coming to about there, so that's 90 degrees, and that's got taper. So about 2/3 of the way across at an angle. Now that's wide enough now for me to say, okay, now I can use that as my guide, because I carry on using it with the skew, with the plane iron tipped at an angle. I'll just make this too deep on this side. So what I'm going to do is now, I'm going to, straighten this up. We use the skew again, and we straighten that up. Bring it back over. I'm going to use my finger. I don't recommend that because you could cut yourself if you're not careful. Never run your finger along the. If you're just doing that, you're not likely to cut yourself. But if you put your finger crossways, just like if you're shaving, you've got the same problem. So you just feel it a bit more. So I want true on both sides. Yeah, basically I want the same amount of thickness of shaving on both sides of the plane iron. And now I'll do full strokes. Not going too far, because I don't want to go right to this edge. I want to go sort of like about 1/6 of an inch or 1/2 mil from this edge. That'll be enough. Because I don't want to make the door any narrower at that point. So now I'm just using the leading edge that I put on as a guide. That's it. Otherwise you'll carry on, what happens, you just keep going round and round and round and round, and eventually you'll have a funny shape. We don't want a funny shape. Right, so this face is done. That face is done. So it's now got an angular, what's got a leading edge on it, just enough. It needs to be about, 1/64 for just under a millimetre. So yeah, it's now got an angle to it. So the distance from here to that face there, that back edge here, is it's less than from there to there on the face of it. So the face is wider than the other side. So I'm going to flip this over, and I basically want to do the same again. What we're going to do first is marker. It needs a mark. I was just not going to know what's going on. Well, I won't know what's going on. Right, so the face we've already done is the hung side. That's already nicely, it's all planed and done. Now we want to do this face. Now I know my measurement needs to be 599 millimeters from that edge to this edge, which is literally there. So it's quite a bit to come off that side. Yeah. So what I've done, I could have took a bit more off that face, but that'll do. So what I'm trying to do is sort of split the difference between the two, because that 10 mil, if I just did it on one of these rails, would look a bit odd. When you look at that, it'll be out of balance. But if they're sort of equal, as an optical illusion, it'll look right. Won't be so obvious. Right, the thing you got to remember now is this leading edge, because I've flipped it over. The leading edge is on the opposite face now, because because the leading edge was on the other face of that when it was in there like so. But if I put this in the same way round, like so, the leading edge is going to be on this face, which is fine. But you just got to remember it when you're actually doing the job, otherwise you're going to have problems. So we're going to put that on there like that. Put that camera back on there like that. Maybe a bit higher. Bring it up a bit. There you go. And we're going to mark that to the rule. And I'm going to use my rule. Straight edge here. No. There's ways you can do it. You can have this higher in the, make it easier. I'm just going to put it on the edge because that'll be good enough for what I want to do. Will be near as damn. The only thing is I can't see my mark now because I put the mark on the wrong side. Silly me. 3 minutes 599. Oh, I need to have a pencil. Mislaid my other pencil. I know where it is, but I just got to go and get it. I say mislaid, I haven't really mislaid it. My decent pencil. I'll have to get another one of them because they're really good. This is a 2B pencil. It's okay, but the mechanical one that Glasgow Kiss got me, that's it's like chalk and cheese, Liz. It is straight. Right, so you see what you've got to take off there. It's quite a bit, you know. So a bit more's got to come off this face. This is the closing side, and the leading edge. This is the inside of the door. So the leading edge needs to be on this side. So I'll be planing down a bit further on this side than that side. So it's the opposite face this time. So we're going to basically do the same again regarding truing that up. How do we do that? Go that way. There you go. Oh, is he sick yet? No? Okay. Oh, this old record voice, I've had that donkey's years. And it was old when I got it. It's been through the wars. It was broken actually. I got it for tenner. And I've had about 30 years. Must be 30 years I had this voice for now. But it's that was already broken. The corner had been snapped off it. Cast iron, you see, at this point here. But I managed to weld it up again. And then it was a bit, I wanted more out of the, I wanted it higher. So I just welded this bit on the top of it. It's surprising that it's actually welded to that cast. But it's been like that for a good long while now. So now we're going to do the same on this face here. Oh, have I got my power supply? Oh, I've got a new toy. I think I got my power supply. It's freezing in there. Got about 11 days of this, haven't you said? 11 days. 11 days of extreme cold?
Well, no, the thing was saying it's going to be plus 12 at the weekend down the day. It's just the night time's cold.
Oh dear. Don't like the cold, I want the spring. So we're going to do the same again. Remember, we kind of like did it in stage, just like work your way back like so until you get to this face. But I don't want to make it too narrow at the bottom of the door because it's almost a fit already. So we're going to do the same again. Make sure you can see. See me hairy armpits? No, okay. Phew. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going back further each time. So they're quite, it's only your pie, isn't it? If I show you the doors, I'll show you in a minute the doors that I did have in this niche, which are literally just bits of oak, really. I'll show you in a minute. Let's see how far we get down. So we've still got a fair bit of distance to go. As you can see there. So we go back to that point. And then forward, back a bit further, forward, back a bit further. And the more mechanical you can get in your motions, You don't overstretch yourself. You'll become out of balance. More accurate, the better shavings you'll get. They're getting it's about there. Right, I've got to do it start again. Got another what, eighth to go. Well, there's a constant, but you know, obviously you need to check as you go along. Make sure you're not getting a bit carried away. I'm getting a bit carried away. Right. It's probably got a bit of a rock in there. Oh, actually it hasn't. No, it's pretty good. So I'll do one stroke all the way along. Then we'll do an unboxing in a minute. Got my new power supply for this computer. So might make a difference, it might not, we'll see. So we're now going to do a full length with the plane. From virtually end to end. I'm not going to go too much at this end, so it'll be very light at this point. And then right along. And now I've got to think about the leading edge. Now, if you remember, we flipped it around the opposite direction, so I need to take more of that edge, this edge here, than that edge. So basically that edge needs to be at an angle downwards. Yeah, so it's going like downwards at that edge. So the width on this face of the door will be narrower. You know, less width on that face of the door than that face. Quite hard to do live, you know, because you've got to be constantly aware of the camera. Got to keep putting myself in front of the camera, don't I? So same thing again with the screw, with the plane itself. But in this case, I want to go in the opposite direction. So I don't want to dig it in that side, I want to dig it in that side. So we do basically the same again, all be in the other direction. And I can see that going in there. Yep, that's there. Not quite as ferocious as that. Back a bit. And if you can see that there, it's poking it quite a bit further that side than that side. And we use that to our benefit. Well, to the right of the plane this time, because that's where it's not poking through quite as much. And then we take a couple of free passes that way until I'm about 2/3 of the way across at an angle. So, yeah, I don't want 90 degrees basically. Or like, I don't know, 88 degrees or something like that. I don't know. I've never worked it out. Just always done it by eye. If it works, it's not wrong, is it? I suppose. So I've gone that far, like so. So now I want to straighten it up. That's it. Quite straighten that up. That's good. I'm ready to put the plane on a little bit further back because it's come out too far. I'll do it anti-clockwise. And these knobs here, they've got a reverse thread on them, so it gives you the feeling of it going, you know, clockwise to go deeper and anti-clockwise to go, yeah, to bring the blade or the plane iron out. But you always have to make sure, once you, say for instance you want to bring the plane iron out using this knob, which is fine, yeah, you bring the plane iron out using that knob, anti-clockwise, right? What you got to remember is there's some slack there, and that's some slack in the machine. So every time you do it, you need to go back a little bit, or little way, so as though you try and make the plane iron go out again, so you're going clockwise again, until you feel a little bit of resistance, and you know when you start playing, it ain't going to start shunting the plane iron back. In other words, the little bit of metal, the pawl that holds the plane iron into place, will be pressing against the plane iron. A little bit of that, quite steep as that. Try that. That's better. Yeah. Oh, I love this plane. Alright, I think that's about right. Put it on there like that, does it rock? No. Is there a gap underneath? No. It's pretty good. So I can show you on the other camera. So if there was a hump in the middle, this would rock from end to end, right? But if it was look at right on the edge, it'd rock end to end. But if, for instance, it was a concave in the middle here, well, there'd be a gap, wouldn't there? Which there isn't. There's no gap, so that's a good thing. Don't want a gap there, unless your jams are not straight. Then obviously that is another kettle of fish. So I'm just gonna, because I've created these sharp edges, I'm just gonna get rid of those. Just a little plane, just a little block plane, and just to take off the arrows, so you don't get splinters. And the other reason, if you don't take off that arrows in whatever way you want to do it, even with sandpaper, what will happen is you will if you've got paint your door, for instance, the paint will never stick on that arrows. Just won't. That'll be the place where it always chips off. So having a little bit of a round, not too much, just a little bit of a round, or taking that arrows off a little bit will stop the paint from coming off or blobbing on the corners and stuff like that. You can basically do a better job, effectively. Oh, that way round. I'll double check this in a minute. I'm just going to take the arrows off this one, this edge. I haven't even sanded the door yet. Right. I just brought this in there because it was in the house, because to get the measurements and stuff, you see. And I thought, oh, I'll just go live for a few mows. Can't go for too long because I've got to walk the dogs. It's freezing cold. We need warm banks to walk the dogs. That's what we need. Oh, I did a funny video. I think it's a funny video anyway. About Richie Sunak. It's probably gone live now, actually. It goes on at 5. Yeah, half an hour ago. I haven't even looked. La 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 la. The 10,000 men. We walked them up to the top of the hill. Oh, I can't change it yet. I don't want to. Oh, he's off for Tomtit. Jasper. It's snowing there. Is it, Gingers? Oh my God, it's freezing. It's freezing. Jasper, it's freezing there as well. Haymarkers, do you got the second-hand haymarkers to find? I do. Yes. Let's bring that camera up now. I'll just pull the plug out. No, that's right. Yeah, I do. I go to second-hand for haymarkets, or here be brocants. There's also V-Greniers. So you got they're like the car boots, what have you. You got the V-Greniers. It's like empty your attic. But yes, we got do you like that? Like Deputy Dark. I do like crazy hats. I want one like my daughter's. She's got one like an ostrich. Not an ostrich, octopus. An octopus got like, yeah, anyway. Actually, I'd like a Rusky hat, like a Russian hat, I don't know what you call them, but everyone I've seen has got like the flipping sickle on it and stuff. Yeah, I didn't really fancy hammer and sickle on it. I didn't really fancy that. No, anyway, yeah, there's the flea markets here, which would be like the V-Greniers, but then also you get like the second-hand places. They call them a brocant, and they can be quite good as well, actually, because also depends where you go and what you can get, because some places are a bit pricey. And there's a regular guy who goes on all the V-Greniers. He travels around this area of the Limousin, does all the V-Greniers. You know, I think quite so many at the moment because it's winter. Because generally they're outside. You do get ones inside as well. But these V-Greniers, there's a guy who goes around these V-Greniers and he cleans all the tools up, basically his wire brushes or maybe paint up or paint up. And they do look all good and what have you. But when you look closely, all he's done is wire brush them up and put a coat of paint on them. All the problems associated with like a hand paint, for instance, are often there for all to see. Do you know what I mean? And you might as well just do all that work yourself, because he's charging quite a bit of money for them. So it's pointless. So you can get some bargains, and a little bit of surface rust on them is nothing to really, unless it's obviously alters its construction. You know, it makes it vulnerable, it's weak. Well, then obviously you wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. But like, for instance, chisels and stuff like that, if you need new handles, what have you, a lot more chisels I've got hold of that way. Because I know, you know, if it's like ward cast steel or something like that, I think, well, I know that's a good bit of steel. All it needs is a new handle. So I make a new handle for it. And you don't have to turn the handle. Some of the old traditional handles, the old boxwood handles, were like a hexagon shape. You know, with 8 sides. Yeah. And the carving chisels and stuff like that, that type of handle is absolutely ideal because it don't twist in your hands like a traditional round handle. These are, this is supposed to be a carving chisel, and it's got a round handle. The problem is when you got a wide blade like that, it can twist in your hand. So it's not too helpful. You've got to grip harder then, you see, which then you get fatigue. So there's all sorts of things you've got to think about. But no, it's definitely something to think about, A lot of my planes and that all come from, second hand or eBay. My number 5 plane, that was an eBay find several years ago. Some of them I bought new or been handed down to me over the years. Now that's the thing you got to look for. Is if you've got any relatives and stuff like that who maybe someone's passed away, have a look in their garages. I've got 2 of my number 4s and one of my other. Well, I've got to refurbish. I've got number 5 as well. And it's actually the number 4 as well. I've got to refurbish. But I've got 2 planes there waiting to be done. They just need to be cleaned up and sorted out. And they both came from my grandfather. And you go and have a delve about them. You find all these box full of tools really. Plane irons needs a real grind up, all a bit rusty and stuff. Totally clean. A cast iron, for God's sake. It don't take much to sort them out. The first thing you can do is just, what we used to do is stick them in a bucket of oil and diesel and stuff and just let them soak. And then they'll basically become more free in that, and you can work with them. But you don't always have to do that. Quite often, if you can loosen up all the screws, you can take it all apart. You saw me doing another video, didn't you? Where you take it all apart, and then you can put it all back together again, clean all the bits up, replace if you've got to replace. Most bits on a hand plane you can find. If not, you can pretty much make. The only thing you might find awkward are things like the knob itself is easy to find, but the screw itself sometimes is quite awkward to get hold of because they're the reverse thread, you see, so that makes it a little bit more awkward. Saying that, you could machine one up and quite easy with a right hand thread, I suppose. It's not ideal, because you might keep going the wrong way. But it's they're simple things, aren't they? Yeah, they're really simple things, And as far as I'm concerned, a lot of the older tools are far better than what you can get these days. So okay then, we now got our door. Here's our door. So far, so good. It hasn't been sanded up or anything yet. No. And this is the hung face. That's the back of the door, so it's upside down. That's the face of the door. And this is the hung side. And we have a mark there. We have a mark there. They represent the top edge of the other hinge that's already in the door from the double doors that were already in there. So if I grab you one of the double doors, I'll show you what they were like. Where's the other one? That's one of them. La 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 la. Here I come. So these are the hinges. That's the hinge we're using, like that. And yeah, absolutely fine. You can see they're just routed in. Simple. Really simple because it's got round ends, you see. So I made a jig up for that, so we'll use that in a second. And this is a plank of oak. There's 2 doors like that. That's the left-hand side, I think. Yes, left-hand side, and one on the opposite side. They just drop onto pins. And where that line I put on there represents the bottom edge of that hinge, just there. Just there. That's the idea. And I've done these hinges so many times. So that's what we're going to do next. I can't really paint this, but I'll have to take this into the house to paint it because it's too cold and damp in there. So it's that side. What you've got to remember is it's always facing upwards. You don't want to end up cutting or doing the routing at the hinge on the wrong side of that line, because that would be really, really unfortunate and annoying. Because I'll have to do some TLC. I'm putting it in the voice in a minute, so I'll be with you in a second. But I'll tell you what we're going to do first. Before we do that, I'm going to do unboxing. On the other camera, the unboxing. It's snowing there. It's snowing. Who we got here? Got Jeff. Audio's fine. I'd like to hear the audio. Hello, Byron. I've been interested in this series because I have several largest maps I want to mount and hang. Well, maybe we can do a framing session. I've got some things I've got to frame, I've been told. So, yeah, if you want to do some map, what sort of maps are you talking about? Frame? What, in a door, like a door frame? So it's actually, are they cloth? Are they paper? Printed? Maybe, I don't know. On paper? Obviously printed on something, but Okay, it's right over there. Right, so let's do an unboxing. Put you on the other camera. Oh, there we go. And here's our unboxing, because we just got this come through the door. And guess what it'll be? It'll be a package within a package within a package. That's what it'll be. Let's bring that cat over there a bit more. There you go. So it's going to be, like I say, it's going to be a package inside. It's probably going to be a box inside a box inside this bag. Probably, because you know. I have to admit, a lot of things I bought off Amazon have ended up being ridiculously big packaging for tiny things. The worst I've had was a not stick memory. It was a what was it again? No, stick memory. It was a hard drive, an SSD hard drive for my computer in the office, and the box was that must have been like that big. It was bigger than this, big sort of flattish box, Amazon box. Obviously, must have run out of boxes for small stuff, and the thing inside was only like the packet itself was probably no bigger than this. You know, it was ridiculous. You know, and space in logistics, you know, haulage, what have you, transportation of these goods costs money, doesn't it? All right, so we've got a first box. Is it just going to be one box for change? Oh, I'm highly disappointed. So there's just going to be it's a bog standard power supply, but it's 500 watt instead of the 300 watt that's in there. So it should be an improvement. I've got 1,000 watt in the other computer. It's ridiculous. But you need it, you know. Okay, so I'm opening up the package. And inside this package, first thing we're going to approach by is this Takens Animal for AP23, whatever, it's 500 power supply. That's 500 watts peak. Is it peak? No, it's 500 watts. Okay, it's total power is 500 watts. That's good. So, you get what's it in there? That's cable. Yeah. Got a plug on the end. You plug it in there into your electricity comes out the end of that. See, that's unboxing for you, isn't it? And we get these little foamy bits you can play around with later. Yeah, okay. And a cardboard box. And it's some of the modern the nicer power supplies. You have a separate cable. All the cables plugged in separately, and cable management is a lot easier. This is just no ordinary, because it's only for my workshop computer. It's not exactly for my fancy one, my fancy computer, which isn't that fancy anymore, because I built it about 6 years ago. So it needs an upgrade, massive upgrade. That one does. Especially editing videos like I've been doing. Crikey, it gets slow. So many things you have to think about when you're editing videos. It's the most hungry thing on the computer. It's like gaming, I suppose. Oh, look at all these wires. So we've got all these wires, horrible wires they are. But yeah, all these wiry type, like ribbons type wires. A bit stiff, probably because it's flipping cold. We've got a power supply, and that is literally going to be fitted into the computer that we're currently streaming this stream on. And hopefully, the cameras might work a bit more efficiently because I'll have more power. So, 300 odd watt power supply that's in the computer that I'm running at the moment is an old Acer computer, i5 something or other. And although the processors don't seem to mind too much, I think it's a possibility. The reason why I can't run on my cameras is because there's not enough power for them. I also think it's something to do with port allocation as well, but we'll see. Probably need a new computer, and I definitely can't do that at the moment. But anyway, okay, that's power supply. Back in the box. That'll do. I can't do it at the moment because the stream will stop. Obviously. Oh dear. These things are sent to try us. That they are. It's been a funny day, isn't it? Richie Sunak. He's been busy talking a load of gibberish again. Literally. He's Richie Sunak. He made his announcement to those people in Belfast, and he said to them, "Well, got this deal. It's fantastic. This deal. It's given the benefits of the single market and the benefits of the of full access to the fifth or sixth largest internal economy of the United Kingdom." And it's sort of bigging it all up, being a part of the single market and what have you. We just left it effectively. Just only Northern Ireland's going to benefit from it. It's just maddening, really maddening. He's contradicting himself. If you watch my video on the other channel, I had a bit of a Mickey take. Yeah, I might have gone over the top, but there you go. That's me. I can't help myself. People say, oh, don't do it like that, Marcus. Don't do it that way because it's kind, not everyone appreciates your humour. Probably not. No, but it's tough. If I can't make no money out of this channel, at least I can have a bit of fun. Right, so I'll use my marker knife. So I've got just put a little cut in there, like that. Try not to move it the way, like that. And then I'm going to do the same on this face here, and that's marking the top of the hinge. So when I get my just put a bit of line in there. Put that line in there. So when I get my jig, get my Northern Irish jig. It's in there somewhere. Where are you, Northern Irish jig? I found it. Yeah. There. In some ways, it'd be better having bigger hinges on now because the door is one door instead of two. Oh, that is a bigger hinge. I don't want that one. I'm not going to because it's already got one in the other side. Find the jig first if I can do it. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. Why has it fell off the back there? It might have just fell out right to the end. That'd be annoying. Means I'll have to dive in there. I found it. There's my jig. That's my jig for these hinges. Yeah, the hinges that you can see on that door there. We use this jig. All these little screws in here. You think, what are they for? That's for adjustment. You see, so I made my jig. You see, so I just unscrew them a little bit, and that moves the fence in and out. Effectively, the whole thing goes in and out. Now, there's two little marks on there. One for right and left hand. You see it on there, right and left hand hinges. Because effectively, in between the hinge, there's like a washer. It's a fixed washer, but it's like a washer that adjusts. It alters each hinge's position. So I have to make sure I got it on the right mark. I have to make sure on there like so, just like that. Yeah, just like that. So I grab myself a couple of little clamps. Use speed clamps, but I don't recommend it for this job because they can move. That is really annoying when that happens. And we don't clamp near the end because then you can effectively put pressure on the end of the little adjusting screws, and then I'll have a negative effect. You're trying to lift it off the other end. I don't want to do that, you see. These are not the clamps I normally use, actually. These aren't the clamps I usually normally use, are they? These ones over here, where are they gone? Where have they gone? Oh, there they are. Little stubby clamps. They're a bit like these ones. That's what I normally use. That's it. Now move it into this position. Get into position. Like so. Always making sure it's all the way down. I'm making it look like a dog's dinner, aren't I? That's what I'm doing. Alright, on there like so. Yeah. And do the same on that face. Over there. Just pushing down all the time. Alright. I'm going to grab that hinge off that door. It doesn't need to be in there anymore anyway. Oh, that's the wrong hinge. Because it's off that side. That's the wrong hinge. So I need to go and find a hinge. Hello, my darling. No, I'm just going to route this hinges in, and that'll be it. Alright, darling. Right, I'm in my box of hinges. Is that the right hinge? No. Because they're right and left-handed, you see. So I'll show you. Right, got the box. Right, yes, my workshop is a mess at the moment. I do agree. Right, so these are the hinges here, but they're handed. So that's the wrong hand because that would be on that side, because on the right hand side of the door, and that'd be the wrong way round. So I'll show you a bit close up in a minute. So I don't want that way round. They're droit. I need gauche. The gauche hinges. I'll find my gauche. That's a gauche. About my house. Right. So it's the green ones. I need the green one. I need one for the moment. Just for the purpose of doing this demonstration. But I'll show you what I mean with the yellow ones. Just so you can see. These hinges are handed. Not like the English sort of butt hinges. Butt hinge being just a simple, yeah, that's like a butt hinge, yeah. Square edge, you know, round edges as well, but they go either direction. They're not handed. You know, use them on either side of the door because there's nothing fancy about them at all. These are nice hinges, to be fair. But where these are good is you can lift the door off the hinges, which is really handy. Quite easy because it's just a pin like that. So this one is a Duart, and effectively, if you're looking at the door frame itself, the pin would go into the door frame, and then this piece here, like the knuckle, will then go on top of the pin, like so, and they'll be attached to the door itself. It's like that. But we don't want that side because that one's designed to go on to the left-hand side of your opening if you've got a double door opening or if a single door hung on the left. We've got a door that's these doors, or this door is going to be hung on the right-hand side, which might sound strange, but you need a left hand. So in this case, push. So that pin here is into the frame on the right-hand side of the door. We then got this pin here, which then this part of the hinge and knuckle that then goes on to the top there, like so. So that's going to have to go into this door at that point. And where that mark is, it represents the top of this, what looks like a bit of a washer. Just it looks like a bit of a washer, just there, and that represents that mark. See the positioning of, because like I said, there's two registry points on this jig. One for this one, which goes into the door frame, and one for the actual door itself. And the reason why you need the two registry marks is because of where you be taking the measurements off, because where that little, what looks like a washer, it's not a washer, it's actually attached to this piece. And you know, you can actually pull that out of there. You've got very strong fingers. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we've got that into place there, like so. Just like that. We're going to grab the router, it won't take long, and then I'll be calling it in. Once we've got those two in, because apparently my dinner's done. Very kind of her, isn't it? And I suppose then I've got to walk the dogs as well. I thought we'd just do a quick live stream while I was in there doing it anyway, and do it at the same time. And why the hell not? Gives me an opportunity to put content on the channel, and hopefully somebody can benefit from it. Right, you know, I do get people probably click on there and say, "Who's this idiot?" and click off again. Probably what happens. Probably happens a lot actually. There's a really easy way of setting the depth of the cut. And instead of thinking, "Oh God, I've got to measure it and stuff," no measurements needed. All you do is with the jigs, you've got the depth of the jig itself. You just push it down until the actual cutter is touching the actual piece that you're going to cut, hence the door itself. Lock it off, so it don't go up again. And this depth adjuster here, there used to be a dial on there, but it's fell. I got the bits, but it fell off. Crazy. It's quite expensive. It's a small router, but it's quite a pricey router. About €400 these were. These are. I don't know what they are now, but they were when I bought this one anyway. But they're really good routers. I really like them. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my depth using the actual hinge itself. Let's bring it down so you can see. Trying to be conscious. Make life easier so you can learn. Right, you got this thing here, right? Let's make sure that's not actually, it's already touching it, so I better make sure that is not influencing, so that's out of the way. So I can get, so it's all the way down, which it wasn't. It was about 1mm short because it was already hitting the stop here. So what we do is, now that cutter is now touching the door itself, we grab the hinge, we lift this up, this little technique, really handy technique this is. And you can use this for not just for routers, use it all sorts of stuff. Push it down so it's pinching it, then lock it off. Now the depth is set to the thickness of that. So that basically that can only now go down once I remove this from there. I've created a gap in there, and that gap is the thickness of this actual. I might add a little bit deeper than that, just a little bit. There you go. Yeah, like so. So we'll put that to one side now. So when I router that should only router to the depth of that of the hinge. So there we go. I'll make sure that I'm happy. I've got, yeah, it looks like I've done it all. So we can remove the actual jig itself. What at? What at? But then, oh my god, there's a bit, I can't get it all the way down because there's a bit in the way. Oh dear, what am I going to do about that? Well, I was going to make my jigs so it routed out at the same time, but what I found is every time he routed it, it just broke that edge out. So I thought, no, I'm not doing that anymore. So it's got one jig that does, the same job. So all we've got to do is stick that on there like so, and we mark it like so, and do the same on the opposite face. I'll use a pencil, I think, like that. I've just got to do 2 little cuts and then peel it off with a chisel, a sharp chisel. Always look on. No, you always use a sharp chisel. Always look on the bright side of life. Okay, so that. You can use a little fine saw if you like, or even a, standing knife. Do the job. This isn't too helpful because I'm right near a knot, or what looks like it might be near a knot. So I'm just going to be a bit ginger because the grain's going all sorts of different directions. So it's not very helpful. Let's bring it a bit close just so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just making way for that, and I'll call that hinge really. Just going to, like so. I have to go the opposite direction here because of that, the way the grain's going. Otherwise, I'll just try and follow the grain. Now we've got these bits like that. Easy way to sort that is just put a bit of sandpaper there, but I just run it over a couple of times so you don't end up with a fluff. Now that will go in there like that. Perfect! If I do say so myself. But when you do that a few times, it's dead easy if you got yourself a jig. And now I didn't buy a jig, I just made it. You don't have to buy jigs. They charge you an absolute fortune for jigs. They're so flippin' easy, so simple they are to make. So why on earth would you buy them? It's like worktop jigs and stuff like that. They cost a lot of money. I understand buying them if you're obviously doing a lot of it, if it's your work. But otherwise, it's a bit pointless. And always, either use a bradawl, right? Or if you're in hardwood, I'd use a drill. And just put your clearance hole. You can use a centering drill if you want, which basically makes sure that your screw hole's always in the middle of the actual hinge. So the screw heads don't influence the actual, don't influence the hinge itself. Like that. I'm screwing it to show you, and then because I haven't finished the door yet, but I'm just going to put this one. I'm not going to do the other one at the moment because because I won't eat my dinner. I'm just not with screws. This is where you got to be careful with whenever you, even when you buy hinges, you often find that the screws they supply are not correct for the hinges, or they're rubbish, absolute rubbishy screws. Now these hinges, if I find them screws, I think I took them in the house, didn't I? The ones I normally use for this job. I bet I have. Oh no, these do. It's the heads of the screws are the problem. If not, you need to get your countersink out or drill bit and deepen the actual. See how that one? That's lower, or it's not. Yes. So I've got to be flush or lower than the actual surface of the hinge. If you've got a screw and it's sitting up there in the, I don't know, like argument's sake, this one here probably. Well, that one's actually not that bad. I find a big one just so you can get the idea. Okay. Like the stainless steel screw here, that's too proud. So what happens is, when you fit or try and close your door, and you've got your screws sticking out like that. Maybe I'm exaggerating here, but you imagine on the opposite face you've got that same problem. When it comes to those two coming together, you can probably see they won't come all the way together because the screw heads are in the way. So you have to make sure that the screws fit. You know, 3.5 for work quite well for most hinges, like so. So they're lower. So when you put that together, the hinges can go, flush together. So there's nothing there to make your hinges bind. Because when your door or cabinet doors, when they bind, you're constantly putting pressure on the hinges. But not just on the hinges, but on your door jambs as well. And you can actually split your door jamb. The frame that goes around your door, you actually split it. So you don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to screw that into place just to make a point. How come I've only got 2 screws? A bit silly, isn't it? I need another one. Got to find them first. Where'd I get that one from? Oh dear. Now I've lost the plot. It's not that one. It's not that one. Oh, it is. Right, so we're going to back that in there like that. Normally, especially screw that length, I would put a pilot hole in. I pulse the drills going in. If I just try and wind it down, you're likely to jump out of the screw head and mank up all your screw head, make it all manky. So by pulsing, what happens is your drill bit, your screwdriver bit, is falling back into the screw every time. Every time you slow down, it falls back into the screw. If you keep like that, what happens? You can ride out of the screw, and then at that point you'll damage all the head of the screw, and then it'll be harder to put it in, to screw it in. So you can see there, look, that's in. I'm quite happy with that. That'll do. Right, so I'll do the same on the other end of the door up here. And we've got a hinge here that goes into the jamb like so. Like that. That's the nice thing with these French hinges, is that they're not machined well. If you get some, like that brass one I showed you, such as this, this is a proper brass hinge, and it's machined nice, and there's no slop and no movement at all. But you don't need that. The weight of the door, the fact this is loose, makes no difference whatsoever, because the weight of the door just stops it from being sloppy. Okay, if you're doing cabinet work and stuff like that, you want nice brass hinges like these, that make a lot nicer job. But for this, doesn't matter. Just so that goes into the door jamb or frame, and then the door sits on top of that. So there you go. Anyway, I'm gonna go and have some dinner. Got to feed me. Probably gonna be something boring, Well, it'll be boring. No, it won't be boring. I know what she's doing, so it's not boring. But it's keto. Oh, keto. Oh dear. Not keto. Yes, keto. It's not. Oh, it's over there. I've got to grab it now. I'm just going to grab it over there. How do I get over there now? Where's my mouse? It's over there, so I'll go that way. Oh, I'm on it. I'm going to bring it back now. La 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 la. Oh, there we are. Oh, we're back. Oh, it's quite hard doing that. So, where are we? Hello, Duke Vengeance. I hope you're well, my friend. Richie Sue Snake, yeah. Or Snoo Stack, our tiny Prime Minister, in his tiny trousers. Ain't he cuddly? Oh dear. I'm so angry, I put on another 5 kilo and weight to 15. Oh my god, fear me and my awesome strength. Oh, well, I'm currently 95 kilos, just over. But I was nearly a ton. So I was 99 point something. So I ain't done too bad in a couple of weeks, whatever it was, 2-3 weeks. So I'll have to do this probably for 3 months, I reckon. Last one I lost 20 kilos, so absolute belligerent clowns. Hello, Casper. I'm very sorry, Casper. I'm gonna have to go now. I'm gonna get some dinner. What we were doing, just in case you didn't know, we were fitting hinges and planing the edges of the doors, which have a taper, and also a leading edge. So if you want to check from the beginning, of the stream, you can do that, I suppose. Oh, I suppose that's a plan, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to have to go, because I'll get in trouble, from the missus, from her indoors. It's like Minder, her indoors. Oh, George Cole. That's it, George Cole. That's it. Anyway, let's go. Ta-ta.